Hi there, this is Eshu. I'm the abbot here at Zenwest Buddhist Society. This Living Zen-podcast is just one of the many resources we've created at Zenwest to make Zen practice and training more available and accessible to people all over the world. Instructional videos, printable resources, and much, much more are also available on our website at www.zenwest.ca. If you're a regular listener, I'd love to hear from you. So please drop me an email at office@zenwest.ca and let me know who you are, how you got started, and what brought you to Zen. Everything we make available in person and online at Zenwest is only possible because of the support of our members and associates, people like you. If the efforts of our community are making a difference in your life, I'd like to invite you to show your support and take part in making it happen by becoming an associate or member of the Zenwest Sangha. You can do this by clicking the Join Us tab on our website at www.zenwest.ca. Thank you for your support, and thanks for listening.
This morning I wanted to take a bit of a break from the Mumonkan, the gateless barrier. The gateless barrier is a fundamental text in the Zen tradition. So it's traditional, or it's the common practice to have talks that are based on the gateless barrier text. But I just wanted to spend a little bit of time today talking about what it is that we're doing here, what it is that we do in this practice, what it is that we're doing here on a Sunday that we come out and engage in practice together. Today we started the day's practice with two ceremonies, Shokenko, and then the Zendo entering ceremony. Both of these ceremonies are traditional in the Zen school, but both of these ceremonies are rarely done, I've found, in the Zen school anymore. The formality of becoming a member or becoming a student of a Zen teacher has been dispensed with in many Zen circles. It's like an extra ceremony or an extra step that people feel like it's an obstacle to people coming into or joining the community. And I have to admit that in both cases, in both the Zendo entering ceremony and in the Shokenko ceremony, I agree. It's an obstacle to people coming into and practicing with the community. And it is exactly, precisely for that reason that I have chosen to keep it. The Shokenko ceremony is an opportunity for both the teacher and the student to express their intention in practice. We are a Zen center, jhana center. Zen is the Japanese sort of pronunciation, zazen na, of jhana. The dissolution school of Buddhism. Buddhism being the dharma and discipline, the teaching and form of awakening. Buddha. So it is our foundational sort of direction that this practice of dissolution, Zazen, is the most effective way to awaken. It's not just a meditation center. It's not a place where we engage in practices so that we decrease our blood pressure or that we have less insomnia, we're able to sleep better at night, or that we develop a better control and focus in our working lives. And all of these things are wonderful side effects that can happen as a result of practice. But it's important that we don't lose sight, or we don't forget, or we don't mistake these byproducts, essentially. No matter how pleasant they are or how good they make us feel, we can't mistake these byproducts for our main function. It seems that, to me, that many practice centers do. They get lost in this kind of... the only way that I can describe it is sort of like a missionary mindset. This practice is for everybody, and we want everybody to join into our community. And that's okay. And we have a space in our own community for all people. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to Dharma practice, these Sundays, when it comes down to interview, when it comes down to Teisho, my direction isn't pointed at helping you be a better such and so, more effective and productive worker, or whatever it is that you want to do. My focus isn't on having you sleep better at night. My focus is on providing a mirror for you to awaken. Not to the little fixations, little troubles, little difficulties that you're experiencing in your life, but to awaken to the fundamental root of difficulty, the root of suffering, the root of anguish. This is what Buddhism points to. This is what awakening is. And so in this ceremony of Shokenko, I ask for people who are wanting to come and practice with me as a student, for people who are coming to practice in Zenwest as members, to be very clear on this point. It is a mutual commitment that we make, that I will do all that I can. I give my life to doing all that I can to ensure that there is a space for this investigation, to do all that I can to ensure that there are the resources, physical, human, emotional, intellectual, to support your endeavor in awakening. And the commitment that I ask in return is that the student meets me in commitment, does all that they can to materially, to physically, emotionally, energetically support the endeavor that we're engaged in, to do all that they can to awaken. One of the other reasons that I support and continue this practice of Shokenko is because I'm a big fan of two things. One is clear boundaries, and the other is commitment. One of the messages or things that I've really found depth in practice is the power of making commitments, the power of publicly, openly stating your intention and committing to fulfilling it. And I think that it's very easy for people to float around, whether that's in their education, or whether that's in their family relationships, or whether that's in their romantic relationships or their employment, or in their spiritual practice. Our society has become so diverse, and our technology has made resources so infinitely available that we can really develop a fear or an aversion of commitment. I talk about this, or I have conversations about this with all kinds of people, all ages and all stages of life, over all of the sort of areas of life that I've mentioned. What area of study should I take? Which relationship should I pursue? What kind of work should I get into? And with this, what kind of practice center? Which teacher? And our aversion is always, if I commit to just this one thing, just this one teacher, just this one relationship, just this one practice, oh, look at all the many other things that I'll be missing out on. So what I begin to see is many, many people who will go through their whole lives without committing to anything. Maybe this is okay. But what I've learned is that commitment isn't about the thing that you're committing to. Commitment is about you. Finding a place where you can dig in, where you can find out how deep you can go. Now, I don't want to condone making commitment just any old place. I think that you should spend some time finding a place that's worthy of your commitment, finding a course of study that's worth giving your life to, finding a relationship that's worthy of giving your trust and your whole heart to, finding work that's meaningful and worthy of applying the better portion of your life to realizing, to manifesting. But aside from those little caveats, my perspective is that it's better to commit to something wholeheartedly, fully, and perhaps find out that it's the wrong place, to suffer having to leave, having to change your direction, than it is to just skim along the surface. So I like in all aspects of practice to encourage commitment. Buddhism has a lot of these commitments. We make a lot of vows. We say a lot of really bold things in our sutras and in our practices. Even the activities themselves require commitment. To make a prostration is an act that requires your whole body. To sit still for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 45 minutes requires commitment, your whole body. your whole heart, your whole mind. Even walking kinhin requires commitment. You have to be committing your mind and your energy, your attention, and your body just to keep in step, to keep up, to maintain the form. The clarity of boundaries that I appreciate about Shokenko has become more and more clear over the past few years, because all kinds of difficulties in relationships have come about in relationships around me, just based on the simple question of, is that person one of your students? And there's all kinds of ways that we can, in Zen, in meditation centers, we can talk about, I was just more of a good friend in the way. Or we had a collaborative spiritual practice. Or I was just a guide. There are all kinds of ways that we can shirk our responsibility to one another when the boundaries or the understanding about relationships aren't clear. So I like the Shokenko ceremony because in no uncertain terms it says, I am coming to be a student of you as a teacher. And it says, from my perspective, I accept the responsibility to be a teacher to you in a formal sense. So if there's any trouble in the future, there is no question. And really, it's it's a support, not even as much for you as it is for me. It helps me to know my boundaries. It helps me to know my expectation. It helps me to know my commitments and my responsibilities. I don't just expect other people to make commitments. I make them myself. The Zendo entering ceremony is also something that's rarely done. Again, I think because of this sort of missionary kind of perspective where everybody can come, everybody is welcome, everybody has a place. And again, I think that we as a community provide this openly. There is a space for this perspective, for this kind of practice. Our Tuesday evenings, we provide exactly such a space. Everyone can come. Everyone can participate. But my experience is also that in order to do this work, in order to really look at ourselves, we have to find ourselves in a community that is based on trust, that is based on mutual commitment, that is based on mutual support. So we have this gap. We have a barrier that needs to be surmounted in Zen West. You can come as much as you want to our Tuesday evenings. You can come for whatever reason you want to come. You can come when you want, and you can not come when you want, and you can introduce yourself, or you can leave right away. It's all fine. But when we commit to practice, when we want to become a member, when we want to engage in this tradition of practice, which again is aimed at awakening, nothing short, we have to put ourselves on the line. We have to demonstrate that we are physically capable of practicing harmoniously with the Sangha. We have to materially demonstrate that we're willing to do what we can to support the development of the Sangha. We have to demonstrate that we are worthy of the trust, the support of the Sangha. So we have all of these expectations, we have all of these guidelines. You've got to take this course, or you've got to watch those videos, you have to come out to this kind of sit, you have to buy this kind of a gi. And it can all seem really, why do we have to do all this stuff just so that we can sit? But we're not coming just so that we can sit. We are coming to commit our lives to awakening together, to commit our lives to being a support, and to be supported by a Sangha that is pointed in the direction of awakening. If you're unwilling to watch a video, if you're unwilling to develop your body to the point where you can harmoniously sustain the practice, if you're unwilling to commit the financial resources to support the physical resources, the human resources, then how will you respond when the deepest part of yourself, when the ugliest part of yourself, when the most difficult and unpleasant and uncomfortable part of yourself vomits itself into your consciousness through practice? How will you react? Well, there'll be an empty cushion, is how you'll react. So, there's a huge influx in our society right now of all kinds of attitudes towards mindfulness, towards meditation. And it's really easy for us to make the mistake of thinking, yeah, we're just like that. Yeah, we're up to the same kind of thing. And I think that to some degree we are. I really encourage us all to support people in whatever form of meditation practice that they want to pursue. But I think that what we offer here is something much deeper, much more powerful and much more potent. And our role is not to transform ourselves into a hollow shell of what we have, but to ensure that each of us continually commits to this fundamental practice of awakening. We have a form. And I think that it's really easy for us to come to this form and think, well, why do we do that? What's the point of chanting? And why do we do this bowing? Each and every aspect of our form, if we come to it with our comfort-seeking selves, I think it's easy for us to find problems and difficulties with every aspect of it. Chanting is weird. Chanting is foreign. I don't understand this. There isn't even a way to understand this. But each and every aspect of our practice isn't about understanding. It's about commitment. It's about giving ourselves wholeheartedly to our lives as it's unfolding in this moment. Do you understand the reason for everything that you do in your life? Do you understand the reason why you have to do all of the things that you're required to do in a day? How how does the experience differ when you hold yourself outside of those things from when you completely immerse yourself into those things? How does the experience differ when you're doing something completely on your own to when you're engaged with a harmonious group, a harmonious family in creating something together? Our practice isn't about satisfying the desires of our head, because those go on and on and on. This practice aims directly at giving us the experience of satisfaction with our entire body through dying, through committing ourselves fully to the activity that we're engaged in. In formal practice, we find that bowing, we find that chanting, we find that walking, we find that sitting. And it's the experience of meeting something that's difficult, that's uncomfortable, that's unfamiliar, and letting go into it, coming to completion through that activity with all beings, recognizing that we're not separate at any time. This realization is what we can carry forward into our lives. This realization is what transforms us as human beings, as bodhisattvas. This realization is what we can carry out into the world. This realization is what transforms the world and transforms people around us. So, whether we're studying the gateless barrier, or whether we're studying the record of Rinzai, or whether I take some piece of current news and talk about it from a Zen perspective, it's always of greatest importance that what we are fundamentally studying is our own heart, our own self, this thing that we call a self, our own mind. Because it's through this investigation, it's through this exploration and experimentation and experiencing together, it's by committing to this experiencing that we awaken.
Thanks for listening to the Living Zen podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.